Hello everyone, this is the second video on A-B tips. So we're going to talk about justification. So for example, limit definition. Now, if you were in the A-B class last week, we had a checkpoint with continuity and IVT and MVT, and I've noticed some of you were putting a limit without an operator. So you have to have the limit from the right equals the limit from the left and also equal the value. So you must have an operator inside. You cannot have a blank limit. Okay? Another justification that we have was local max. So the derivative changes from negative to positive at x equals c. It's important to say where does it occur. Okay? So the derivative changes from negative to positive at x equals c, and similarly also for local mean. Now the function might not be called f, okay? It might be called by a different name, so you got to go back and check on that. And it's not everything is called the derivative. So that's a vague statement. If you look at the video that I previously made, right, make sure that you use the name of your function. If you're not sure what the name of your function is, use part of the question and make it part of the answer, okay? So you're answering to the question, okay? Critical point is where the derivative is 0, it doesn't exist. Absolute mean and max, they will not say that specifically. They will say find the greatest or the lowest or farthest to the left or to the right. And the clue is you get a closed interval of some sort, okay? So what do you do to find the absolute mean and max on a closed interval? It's called the closed interval test. And you're going to do maybe some t-value, but it could also be x, and then some function. Okay, again, not every function is called f, so pay attention to the prompt and how the function is labeled in your exercise. Okay, so you're going to look at f of a, you're going to look at f of b. This also might be like the rate in, rate out problem, and the function there is an amount. So you're going to see where the derivative of your function is 0. If it's the rate in, rate out problem, you're probably looking where the rate in minus the rate out is equal to 0. And that gives you the critical points. You might solve that with graphing calculator this year. And you find the critical points. There might be one or more. We call them C, and we put them in here. We evaluate all of them. Now, because they say find the minimum, the maximum, or something, you need to specify the Y value as well. Let's say it happens here at the very last one. If you circle that as your answer into your prompt, that will be good enough for the grader. Okay? Now, as opposed to local mean or local max, where you need a table of fx versus f prime, and maybe just need the x value or where it happens, with absolute min and max, you're trying to find the highest or the lowest of a function, so you need the y value there as part of your answer, okay? So I hope that makes sense, okay? The other one is about concavity and points of inflection. So function is concave up when the second derivative is positive. Be careful. Second derivative is negative, and the point of inflection is where the second derivative changes sign. I know a lot of you solve it where the second derivative is 0, but that's not really the truth. So if we are looking at a graph that has a second derivative, let's call this point A, let's call this point B, and let's call this point C and f double prime. Now watch out, not every second derivative would be called f double prime. We're going to say that x equals a and x equals b are points of inflection, but x equals c is not necessarily a point of inflection. Okay, okay, because the second derivative does not change sign there. Okay, so be careful with that. IVT, use it to show a function is equal to some number, and a lot of you are mentioning the function is continuous on a closed interval. Don't forget to check that that number is truly in between f of a and f of b. So you can have a table of x versus f. F might not be the name of the function in your problem. You calculate f of a, you calculate f of b. That number must be somewhere in between. Now, it could be in a different format. It might be asking you on a certain interval, is a particular function equal to another particular function? Well, then you make a bigger function. That would be the difference of those two. Yes, and then you see where maybe the value at the beginning of the interval is greater than 0. and the value at the end of your interval is less than 0, and therefore there would be a number, there would be a point where the difference will be 0. That will show that a function is equal to the other one. Okay, so please pay attention to these issues because they do show up. MVT, we kept talking about this also in our justification. Use it to show the derivative function at some point is equal to some number, but it's not any number. It must be the average rate of change, and sometimes you will have this as a table problem. You might need to identify which values in your table will give you that number, and you must show the difference quotient. Now, sometimes they will be even sneakier. They will say the function is differentiable, and you will jump into applying MVT. You need to specify, because the function is differentiable, that would imply that the function is also continuous there. Okay? You might know that, but the grader needs to see it. Okay? Speed is increasing or decreasing. Okay, that's different than when a rate is increasing or decreasing. If you are in AB, it's less likely that you're going to have a motion problem, but you could still have something with speed increasing or decreasing. That would be when velocity acceleration have the same sign. A rate would be increasing or decreasing, and that is not a motion problem. That would be when the derivative of the rate is positive or negative. Okay, L'Hopital, we ask this one in every Zoom session. Please do not set anything equal to 0 over 0. That will be an automatic deduction of your answer point, and that's saying that something is equal to nonsense. Okay, so what do you need to mention? 3 things. I am gonna press the space bar here. So you need to show that both limits are equal to 0, and that's back in the notes that I put in your folder today. You need to show that both function is continuous. Again, they might say both functions are differentiable, but then you connect it and say because they're differentiable, that means they're continuous. You must really specify that because it proves you learn calculus. And then make sure, the third thing, the limit in front of the fraction is the limit in front of the derivatives, and then plug in. Do not ever say a limit of an expression and then forget the limit symbol equals to the expression equals to a number, because you'll fall into the linkage issue that I have mentioned. Okay, so be careful with that. The limit must be there in front of both of them. Okay, tangent line approximation, that would be y minus the y value equals the slope x minus the x value. Okay, and then let's say if the second derivative is positive, and then you draw the tangent line, that would be the approximation from the tangent line will be always under the actual value of the function. So you'll have an under approximation in this situation. Obviously, if the second derivative is negative, you'll have an over approximation. Okay, and then if you want to find the approximation, you plug in the x value that's given. Maybe it's 2.1, and the tangent line, you always write it at the whole number that you're given, maybe at 2, and then you plug in 2.1 and solve for y. Okay, and then they might be asking if it's under or over. Horizontal and vertical tangents. Okay, so horizontal tangent, you set the derivative equal to 0. Vertical tangents, you set the denominator equals 0. Let's say you have something like an implicit dy over dx equals, I don't know, 6y minus 5 over 3x minus 2. Okay, if you want to find the horizontal tangents, you set the top equal to 0. If you want to find the vertical tangents, you set the bottom equal to 0. Okay, all right, when to use the second derivative test? We'll be in situations like this as implicit. You do not control a table of x versus f prime. You have 2 variables. Therefore, that would not be a feasible option. So what do? Well, you have to mention that the first derivative maybe at some point is equal to 0, and maybe the second derivative at the same point, but you need to have both of them. It's an AND statement. Maybe the second derivative at the same point is positive. What would that look like? Well, here's your horizontal tangent. Here's the second derivative being positive. That would look like a local mean, but you do need to mention both of them, so pay attention to that. Okay, the first derivative and the second derivative. Also, when you're calculating the second derivative, in implicit, pay attention to correct implicit differentiation rule. Dx squared over, d squared 1 over dx squared would be 6y prime times 3x minus 2 minus 6y minus 5 times 3 divided by 3x minus 2 squared, okay? And then you start plugging in. Where are you going to get y prime? Well, you're going to get y prime exactly from where you calculated y prime. Okay, exactly from here, right? And y prime at that point might be 0 and whatnot. Just pay attention. Sometimes they're asking you to find the second derivative just in terms of x and y. So then you will replace y prime with this fraction there and don't simplify any further. Okay? That's as much as I want to say in this video. And then I'll be making possibly another one with a couple more ideas. And might add to them. Thank you. I hope this made sense.